Hi friends, welcome back to WildCare. So we're starting on this picture. We're in the wildlife hospital today and we are meeting several snake patients, and we're starting on this photo because this is how these snakes arrived at the wildlife hospital last night. Our director of animal care fortunately was still here, and when these snakes, 3 of them, right? 3. Tangled up in garden netting arrived, she knew it was an emergency, and she immediately started untangling them. So let's meet these snakes. Actually, let's meet Melanie and Brittany first. Go ahead.
Hi. So, Marin Humane Society Officer Russo got the call last night about three snakes. We're going to start here, tangled in garden netting. And so she went and cut them out, and I came back last night and met her here.
Wow, so they were tangled in the sheet of garden netting in the person's yard?
Yes,
okay.
all together.
Wow.
And originally the call was they didn't know if they were rattlesnakes or gopher snakes, so she was very brave. We would have taken either. But
we do handle rattlesnakes.
Luckily they were gopher snakes. And as you saw in that photo, they were all tangled together. Sometimes they're all going for a good food source, but sometimes they could have been mating. We're not sure what they were doing that they all got.
Oh, isn't he beautiful?
And I'm gonna...
Wow. So this is one of those guys that was tangled up in that ball, huh?
So almost all of them had the top third of their body. Oh my gosh.
Better?
Holy cow.
Yep.
So last night, as you can tell from this photo, everything was so tight and constricted. They had bulges of muscle and scales sticking out that were really angry red.
A couple little spots, but yeah.
Oh my gosh. We'll post some more pictures. We were having a technical difficulty and weren't able to get the several pictures of this guy, but you can see just how incredibly tangled they were.
So one of the really important, so what we're going to do is soak them, so we can rehydrate.
David, he's a gopher snake.
Gopher snakes, yes.
Yes.
So we can rehydrate snakes by simply soaking them, because they can absorb fluids through their cloaca, which is convenient for us to not have to stick them with a needle. Especially after all the physical trauma they've been through.
Right. Hi, Brenda from Canada.
And they don't like it, obviously.
Kara.
So we're going to let him sit here and cover while he hydrates.
Sounds good. Kara, these are gopher snakes, and if you're just tuning in, they came in tangled in garden netting. We'll show the image again in a couple of minutes here of how they arrived.
See him in here. I don't know if you can get the camera in there.
Is he down there in his enclosure?
Oh, there he is. Yep.
And you can see why these gopher snakes are frequently mistaken for rattlesnakes. And the thing that I love that they do, you want to tell us about what they do, Brittany?
They will flatten their head and expand their body, and then they will often rattle their tail while they're in dry leaves and dried grasses, and that will make a very similar sound to a rattlesnake.
Oh my gosh.
So they can they're very good at portraying a rattlesnake as a good defensive behavior against other animals.
Oh, yeah.
So this one is the smallest of the 3.
Still a big snake. These guys are big.
Her coloring is beautiful.
Yeah,
really,
look how pretty.
I'm shocked. I cannot believe how fantastic they look from what we had to cut them out of yesterday. It was so
I'm going to show you guys that picture again. So if you're just tuning in, this is how the snakes looked when they came in yesterday evening. And look at how beautiful she is now.
So the one good thing is that clearly the folks found them very soon, and they weren't in there for a long time, because we have had really bad cases come in before that have been there for a very long time with actually deceased ones entangled or severe dehydration and really infected old wounds. So we always ask people, please never use garden netting.
No.
It's so dangerous to animals, and if you know somebody in your life that you just can't talk out of not using it, at the very least we ask people to roll up the bottom, binder clip it so snakes can keep going through. And you need to check the garden netting at least twice a day, morning and evening, in case someone like a bird or a snake gets entangled.
Yeah, I personally rescued an opossum that had gotten tangled up in it. I was walking on my walk and I saw him all tangled up, so it really is.
This one was the meanest last night.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yes.
So these guys, as you can see, these are all adults, and they are typically between 4 and 5 feet long, but can be as long as 7 feet. and typically live about 10 to 15 years in the wild, but up to 33 in captivity.
Okay. Oh my gosh, look how big he is. So again, this is a gopher snake. Look how beautiful he is. Hey, Emily.
There's a little bit of scale damage.
Let's see that. Oh, sorry.
And we've had these so bad that we actually have to do multiple surgeries and wait through multiple sheds for, you know, somewhere between 3 and 6 months.
So I think that eye is stuck.
The scale is stuck on the
so this
eyeball.
is the normal eye.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see on the right eye.
Oh, yeah.
So
how does that happen?
Well, dehydration and trauma. Yep, so we're going to soak him. Hopefully that'll come off on its own, but if not, you will get a visit with our veterinarian.
And again, the soaking is to hydrate them.
And it does take them a minute to kind of calm down. It's a new environment. They're not sure what's happening, but once they're covered and calm, they are able to drink water and also absorb it through their cloaca, like Melanie mentioned earlier, to help them rehydrate. And this is a much nicer method than us giving injectable
Sure,
fluids.
that makes sense. Karen Ritchie says hi, by the way, Britt.
Hi, Karen.
So this is a little treat for us as well. So different than the gopher snake.
One of my favorite animals in the whole world, this
ringneck
guy.
Snake, and they are just beautiful. I'll see if you can see him in here.
This is also an adult, and they tend to average about 12 inches long when they're full grown.
Oh, isn't he gorgeous?
So obviously aptly named ringneck snake. Their bottom half is beautiful.
Oh.
And they do a thing usually when they will curl up the end of their tail really tight. And so tell his story.
So this guy actually came in yesterday. He was caught by somebody's cat, which is why we always recommend that cats are kept inside the house or they use catios when they're outdoors. But ringneck snakes are a common snake in the area, typically nocturnal.
We're looking for any.
Yeah, and he's on antibiotics, unlike our other snakes, and he had just some really small little spots where the cat was able to puncture, but otherwise is doing really well.
Oh, look at that ring on the tail.
Yep,
Isn't that so interesting?
They curl that up and use that, I think it's as a distraction from predators.
Sure, absolutely. And how do you give antibiotics to a snake?
So I had to dilute the antibiotic we have for reptiles to make it even more, to make it an even smaller concentration, because he only weighs 8 grams. He's a teeny tiny snake. And then he literally gets 1 drop, but it is under the skin. So we do an injection, a subcutaneous injection, to give our antibiotics and pain meds to snakes.
Wow.
We have one more gopher snake.
Oh, good.
We're not going to soak him. He's been here a little longer. But if you wanted to.
But he also can have an eval. He is nearing release.
Oh, do you want me to grab him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good. Okay.
Might hear a rattle from this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Could you hand me a glove? Just there's. That's enough. The gopher snake bites don't hurt that much.
Yeah, they're not bad, but
And not venomous, of course, which is
venomous.
good.
This guy came in a couple days before the other snakes, so he is just about ready to go back out, but was entangled in the same sort of garden netting as the group of 3.
Oh my gosh, it's just amazing how often that happens, and just awful and so incredibly preventable. So again, don't use garden netting.
Yeah, and none of them struck. None of them are biting. They're not aggressive at all. Just like all of our wildlife, they just want to get away from you. They do not ever attack. Unless you do something to them, they're going to defend themselves. But what part do you need to see?
If you want to hold the head, I'll look at the rest.
Just so much of him. He's amazing.
Yeah, so you can see he still has some little spots from where he was entangled, but he shouldn't have any problems shedding, which is what we need to make sure of before he's released. And
that's another really important thing we want the public to know is if you do find animals tangled in netting or garden netting, soccer nets, whatever, please do not let them go.
Right.
Bring them to your local wildlife hospital if you don't live here with us, or come to WildCare, because what we do is we keep the snakes until they shed, because a lot of the injuries happen underneath the scales, and it takes a while for to show. So we keep them till their first shed, and you'll be shocked. A snake that looks like this, that seems perfectly healthy when he sheds, a nice raw wound underneath, and the shed won't come off, and then it's open for infection and insects.
Oh, that's amazing. And
So-
same thing, I mean, similar thing happens with mammals with the constriction injuries, right?
Correct.
Or the other,
Yeah, they look okay if you get their leg out of the fence or whatever, but from not having blood flow for so long, after 3 to 5 days, that limb can swell up and become infected and lose feeling. So
Sure.
anytime you get an animal tangled in something that you untangle, please always still bring them to the wildlife hospital for evaluation, even if they look okay.
Yep.
Same thing with caught by cat.
All right,
Even
we're
if you
gonna
get
go
them
back.
away from the cat, we definitely want them here. Cats have a nasty bacteria in their saliva, and they need antibiotics. So please, if you get an animal away from your cat, also bring them into us so we can
Yep.
get them treated properly.
I remember learning that it's the same bacterium that causes your cat scratch to itch.
Yep.
That same thing that makes it itchy for us. Imagine what it does on somebody the size of our tiny ring-necked snake.
Yep. And as someone who spent 2 days in the hospital
Right.
and had antibiotics after a cat bite, I can tell you how bad that infection hurts. And how hard it can be to treat, even in a human who goes to the ER the same night.
Right.
So even more reason to bring them in.
So we're going to be having these guys soaking for a while, yes? So
Yes.
we'll probably let our audience go, but we'll send some updating pictures so you
Yeah.
can get a look at them, and we'll let you know when we're going to release them as well. Ideally, we could do this release as a live stream, which I think
Yes.
would be amazing.
Yes, we just have to talk to the homeowner and make sure that they're agreeing to not put in new garden
Down
netting
garden
that,
netting again.
The Humane Society cut down to rescue the snakes from.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. That was fascinating. Thank you, everybody. Visit us online at discoverwildcare.org. We'll do another one of these tomorrow. Not sure what our subject will be, but it'll be something amazing. Thank you for joining us today. Everybody stay well, stay healthy. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate it. And Sue says hi, Melanie.